Hello, today I'm going to explain how to make a stuffed rabbit. These rabbits make wonderful gifts for a new baby, a little girl, or just as a decoration. Before you begin, you want to make sure you have all of your supplies. That way you won't have to go looking for something later. The pattern I use is from the book Romantic Home Sewing by Christina Strutt. You could, however, create your own pattern with a few lines and curves. You will need a total of 1.5 yards of fabric for this project. You need 1 yard of muslin for the rabbit and the pinafore, and approximately ½ yard of calico to make the dress. To stuff the rabbit, you will need a package of synthetic toy stuffing, which can be purchased at any craft store and many box stores. If you want, you can use a sewing machine to speed up a few of the steps. I use it to sew the individual pieces for the body, but if you prefer to hand sew, that is fine. Because you can't do everything with the sewing machine, you will also need a few hand sewing needles. The color of thread you select is your choice. I prefer to select colors that match so they blend in, but you may prefer a contrasting color. You will need a fine tip pen to draw on eyes, a good pair of sharp scissors, and an iron for pressing the fabric and seams. There are a few hand sewing stitches you will need in order to complete this project. The first is the running stitch. This is a fairly simple stitch. You come up from the back of your fabric at A and go down at B, back up at C and down at E, back up at E and down at F. The other stitch you need is the blind stitch. This will be used when attaching the arms and legs to the rabbit's body. For this stitch, you will come up through fabric 1 at A and down at B, up at fabric 1 at C and down through fabric 2 at D, up from fabric 1 at E and down through fabric 2 at F. Let's get started. But before you can do any sewing, you need to prepare the pieces. To do this, fold your fabric in half and place the pattern on top. The arrows on the pattern of the pieces should line up with the grain of the fabric. To determine the grain, look closely at your fabric and see what direction the threads are going. Your arrow should be placed parallel to these threads. Once you have placed the pattern onto the fabric, trace it onto the muslin. Then remove the pattern and cut through all layers of the fabric around the drawn pattern. You will want to have a total of 2 body pieces, 4 leg pieces, 4 arm pieces, and 4 ear pieces. To prepare the dress, you want to fold your fabric in half and place your pattern so that the edge of the pattern lines up with the fold of the fabric. Again, you will trace this pattern onto the fabric and then cut it out. You will want to have 2 dress pieces. The pinafore pattern is done in a similar manner as the dress. You will fold the fabric in half, place the pattern so the edge of the pinafore rests on the folded edge. The back piece is not on a fold. Trace and cut out the pattern as you have done previously. You will need 1 front and 2 backs. Now that everything is cut out, you can begin sewing. First, take your 2 body pieces and place them with the right sides together and pin them into place. Using either your sewing machine or a small running stitch, sew around the rabbit edges approximately 1/4 inch from the edge. Do not sew the bottom because we will stuff the rabbit and attach the legs there. Clip the edges to help the seams lay flat. Turn your body right side out and stuff it until it is a shape that you like. Fold the bottom edge to the inside and pin shut. The arms and legs are made in a similar manner, so it will be explained as one. With right sides of the fabric together, pin your arms and legs. Then sew around the shape approximately 1/4 inch from the edge. Again, do not sew the straight edge because we will need to stuff from here. Then clip around the edges to help the seams lay straight. Finally, stuff the arms and legs to the firmness you desire. The ears are sewn in a similar fashion as the body. You will pin the ears right sides together and sew 1/4 inch from the edge, leaving the flat edge unsewn. You will then clip around the edges. Now, flip the ears right side out. Fold the open edge to the inside and fold the entire ear in half and pin. Now that the individual pieces have been made, you are ready to assemble your rabbit. For the legs, you will slip the leg into the bottom of the rabbit, placing them where you want them, and then repin. Using a running stitch, sew across the bottom edge, which will close the rabbit, and sew the legs into place. Decide where you want your arms to be located. Rather than pin them, just hold them in place. Using a blind stitch, attach the arms to the body. To attach the ears, line up the ears with the seam on the top of the rabbit's head. It is easier to hold these in place with your hand than to pin because pins get in the way. Using a blind stitch, attach the ears to the rabbit's head. Your rabbit is now complete and you can move on to the clothes. To begin sewing the dress, you will need to place the dress right sides together and pin in place. You will then sew along the sides, under the arms, and above the arms. Remember to leave open the armholes and the neck. Then, fold the fabric towards the wrong side and press with your iron, and then hem using a running stitch. To finish the dress, you will flip the dress right side out and put it on the rabbit. Carefully fold the neckline to the wrong side, and using a running stitch, hem the neck, but do not tie it off. Gently pull the thread to gather the neck and tie and cut off your thread. The last step in creating your rabbit is making the pinafore. To begin, take the two back halves and line them up with the front piece at the shoulders and the sides. Pin them into place and sew along the shoulders and sides. You will then fold the edges along the neck, arms, sides, and bottom. Using a running stitch, sew these hems. For the final finishing touches, you will flip the pinafore right side out and put it over the dress. You can secure the back with a stitch or something more interesting, like a button. Lastly, you will draw on the eyes with your felt tip pen. Congratulations, you have completed your rabbit.